Hello, hello, hello. Hooligan Soccer Podcast coming at you on this Tuesday morning with an EFL Carabao Cup special with myself, Gary Striker, and a Qooligan who is a combination of a head injury with a Stein. Is that correct? Is that the correct way of saying what you're drinking from? Is it a Stein?
Technically speaking, there's a Slovak word for it because it's actually a Slovak Stein. I mean, completely after I ran my very first marathon, humble brag, I went to this specific beer hall in the fine country of Moldova.
Okay.
And hence there you go.
Wow. Okay. And that is just
that's what absolutely nobody wanted to hear on this Carabao Cup special. So that's how we started.
And that is not a paid post, everyone. That's just how interesting and engaging we generally are. We just, talk about shit that is not contextually relevant as well.
We're not getting paid for this. And there's not even beer in here. That's what makes this even worse.
Oh, my God. Oh, God. Well, we're going to get found out for being complete fraudsters as well, aren't we, as well? There we go. Anyway, Qooligan. So busy week going on as well. We're in MLS playoffs. We've got Carabao Cup. Premier League is in full swing. Champions League kicked back off again next week as well. So we've got a lot of episodes coming down the pipe. We are going to do. This one is an EFL Carabao Cup one, and then on Thursday we are doing an MLS playoff special as well with a special guest, TBD, and then also as well we'll do our usual Premier League check-in as well, which we'll probably publish and distribute on Friday as well. So they're 3 episodes in a week, banging them out, 30 minutes an episode. Let's get into it. So today there is a bunch of games. What it seems to have done with the programmers is they've held most of the Premier League teams until tomorrow, and they've played the Championship or the sort of lower league teams today. I'm guessing that's obviously for, well, I wouldn't say, is it TV reasons or is it just general scheduling?
No, I think it's because many of those clubs that are playing on Wednesday played on Sunday. And so a Sunday to Tuesday is not enough rest time.
Yeah, fair enough. That's
so they're looking at the Premier League schedules, and any team that has to play on a Sunday needs a minimum of 2 days rest before they play again. I think that's just a general FA rule, right?
Okay. I think you need 3 days or so. Yeah,
and it's a FIFA, and I think it's a FIFA rule as well, because you don't see teams always have to have at least 2 days of rest before they come in, unless there's other extenuating circumstances.
Yeah, 2 days of rest. So, I mean, even if you're playing 2 days of rest at home back-to-back games, that is a lot. Right. I mean, that is not real rest. That is a lot. And then imagine throwing in Champions League, or sort of even if you have to go from one side of the country to the other, and then whether you're getting a bus for some of these lower league teams as well versus a comfortable sort of chartered airline, charter flight where they put first class seats all the way through and make it comfortable.
I don't think Grimsby's taking charter flights.
Well, this is true. Well, considering they're playing at home, they shouldn't be
taking
any charter flights.
So maybe
as well.
maybe they can Uber to the field.
Maybe. So let's kick off there as well. So today, first game is Grimsby against Brentford. So Grimsby,
the darlings of the cup. The darlings of the cup.
Giant killers. They knocked out Manchester United, or if you remember, this was the game when Amorim had his magnets out on his board as well, and it really did look like the end for Amorim. And it's funny, isn't it, how it's come around, and all of a sudden he's level with Manchester City on points and in the league, and he looks okay, and he's not been fired yet, which is interesting.
And he has not been fired yet.
Man U are not in the Carabao Cup, but Grimsby and Brentford are. So, I'm guessing, as we're both underdog fans here, we're both going to be screaming at the TV here, wanting Grimsby to go and sort of basically get through on sort of the extra time and then penalties and grind Brentford down. Is that kind of what we're thinking here?
How can you not be rooting for Grimsby?
Yes, I agree.
You can't be. Okay, if you're a Brentford fan, you're allowed. I'll give you that, right? If you are a true child of the Bees, then you're allowed to go with that, and I'll respect it. But I think the neutral really has to. The neutral loves a giant killer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and so let us all join together and send Grimsby all the best that we can, because it's going to be a tough one for them. Yeah. I think it's even going to be harder than Manchester United was. With Man U, they had nothing to lose. There was nothing. I mean, you lose to Man U in an early stage cup game like this, there's no shame. There's, you go out, you do the best you can. Well, they did better than that. They absolutely stung them. Then, of course, they followed on with an interesting visit to Sheffield Wednesday. Now, as we all know, Sheffield Wednesday's been having some trouble.
Just gone into administration, right? Yeah.
Well, yes, but that happened after Grimsby beat them 1-0 in their home stadium, in the tie that came after Man United. So they beat Shrewsbury, they beat Man U, they beat Sheffield Wednesday. Now, I'm not going to say that Sheffield Wednesday was a scalp, but they were in a league above them, 2 leagues above them, actually. And so, goodness me, they're on a hell of a run. And if they can take down another Premier League side with Brentford, that would be really one of the stories of the season, regardless of what happens over the next, 6 to 8 months. It would be quite the story. And I don't know how they're going to do it. I really don't, especially with Brentford being very much on the ascendancy,
Well, they did lose at the weekend.
They beat Wolves.
They beat Wolves at the weekend. They did, yes.
They beat Wolves. Okay. They had that stunning last-minute strike in the 90th +2, right? And just absolutely broke Wolverhampton's hearts. More on that later, ladies and gentlemen. More on that later. But if I'm looking at this game, I'm not going to lie. I don't know much about Grimsby. Okay, I watched the Man United game, and what I saw was a team that was not afraid to come out and bring, and as they say, out on the front foot, be aggressive, go for it. And then when they went 2 goals up, they didn't park the bus. They just continued to fight as best they could. And man, you just had them stuck in their back end. So you should see the exact same game plan. There's no reason for them to try and reinvent the wheel here. Bring it. Attack Brentford. They're leaky, right? Brentford's not the most, not the best defense around. So I'm excited. I think this is going to be a fantastic match.
Who do you think? So you think Grimsby goes through on this one, or you want Grimsby to go through?
I want Grimsby to go through, but I will be honest. It's a big ask, right? For them to just get to the round of 16 is an accomplishment unto themselves. They should hold their heads high, but I do think Brentford will take this one. Yes, but I want Grimsby to win. Please do not get me wrong. I have a desire, and then I have reality.
This is the heart versus head reality, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm going to go the other way as well, just because I think we are now getting into late October, early November. The north of England, for those of you who have not been there, it's not somewhere you want to go on a vacation as well. It is going to be wet. It is going to be boggy. The pitch is not going to be like a sort of pool table that the traditional Premier League teams get as well. And the crowd are going to be up for it as well on as I say, can they do it on a rainy night in Grimsby as well? I think this is going to be very much the case. So I'm actually going to go Grimsby win on penalties here. I think this is going to be the case here. So,
we're going to see a little repeat. Maybe hopefully it does not. Well, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But that last penalty shootout with Man U went 12-11.
It was 12 to 11, wasn't it? It was
12 to 11. They cycled the entire team and went back to the beginning. Oh my God!
Oh my goodness!
Wouldn't that be a thing?
Okay, so the other game going on later on today we've got is Wickham versus
There's actually 2
Fulham.
Games.
Yeah. The other game as well, or the others that we have is Wickham versus Fulham. Now Fulham are not doing so well in the Premier League. I'm just looking at this. I mean, they're 3 points off the relegation zone as well, and they've been huffing and puffing as well. I think their manager's probably going to be a candidate for sort of getting the axe pretty soon as well. Wickham
could be.
Wickham again. The underdogs are the home teams here as well. So this is there is something going on here as well. So any thoughts here? Anything to add here as well? But otherwise, I think
Wickham had a rough start. Right. I think they're 4-4-6. They're sitting bottom mid, right? Like just below the mid-level down there in League One. However, their last 4 games, they have not lost. They've got 2 draws and 2 wins. So they've discovered a certain steeliness, which I think is good. And as you correctly pointed out, Fulham are reeling right now. This is not a team that's coming in with a tremendous amount of confidence. And so, you've got Jimenez is still out. They're racked by injury. This is the opportune moment for Wickham. They're the Swans, right? Aren't they the Swans? I'm not sure.
That's Swansea. Okay. I don't know.
I can't remember. But anyway, this is Wickham's chance. All right.
Yeah.
This is Wickham's chance to really go in and I think bloody the nose of a PL side that is not, not 100%. So I think it's, and I do think they'll do it. I think they'll be up for it. I think they will. And if they do, well, then we have a whole other conversation to be talking about with the manager about Fulham's about the manager at Fulham.
I think for me, this is a wounded animal situation as well. They're going to be quite dangerous. Fulham are going to be up for this as well, given the fact that if there's sort of, if the manager's probably in the mindset of like survival mode, how do I not only keep this team up, but also keep my job? And one of the ways to ensure that is to go on a good cup run. And you have the argument, I've got into the quarterfinals, I've got into the semifinals and see if they can get through. So I think Fulham get this, but also as well, similar to the way Grimsby are going to do it, I think they're going to go through on penalties. They're going to have a tough time in Wickham. And trying to get through there as well. So that's that one. Yeah. Okay, and then moving on to the other game that we have today as well. This is the all Welsh affair. We've got Ryan Reynolds against Cardiff City.
Sure.
So Wrexham against Cardiff City, right?
Deadpool versus Cardiff? No, that's unfair. That's unfair.
Van Wilder versus Cardiff. That's what it is. Yes.
Yeah. No, it's yeah. And this is a fascinating one to me because, obviously if you've been anywhere around the sport, the story about what's happening with Wrexham. And that incredible feel good tale is kind of hitting the harsh reality of championship right now. They're 18th place in the championship, 17th place. They're not high.
Oof.
Now,
okay,
I'll be honest, as a newly promoted team, that's perfectly fine, right? Under almost any circumstance, a promoted team to not be in the relegation zone in the championship 12 games in is a good place to be.
Yeah.
So that's fine. But then you've got Cardiff City, and they're sitting second place in League One. They are on a tear right now. So these are really two very evenly matched sides. And then, of course, you've got the North Wales versus South Wales element, which adds a delicious little spice to it. I'm saying spice, but if you spell it in Welsh, it doesn't look anything the same. So, right? And if I mispronounce anything, my apologies to Wales. I'm excited for this one. Wrexham have shown some promise. They had some real tough breaks. Their first two games, they lost like literally in the last minutes. They conceded twice, but they've managed to get themselves back on and are playing some excellent football. And they've traditionally not been a team that does well in these types of cup performances. They tend to fall out early. For them to make the round of 16 is a huge accomplishment because it hasn't happened for many a year for that club. So that they're up. And that Wrexham home crowd is bonkers.
They're going to be up for it as well. But just think about it.
A ribald group.
If Wrexham get through to the quarterfinals of the EFL Cup, I do just want to call out that the EFL Cup is the English Football League Cup, and yet we've got two teams in Wales competing in this tournament as well. So there is just wanted to call that little sort of wrinkle in the philosophy there. However, it's going to make for a wonderful sort of chapter in the next documentary that's going to come out of this cup run that
and let us also not forget that there is a Welsh Cup as well, which just has Welsh teams, but all Welsh teams under FA rules are allowed to compete in English competitions.
Nice. Okay. So I think we're both going for Van Wilder here as well. He's going to go and crush them, and
but you have to. It's the feel good story, and whether you like the commercialization of the game or you feel that there's something else going on at play here, the Wrexham story is a great story.
Yeah, I agree.
Of a downtrodden club that got a little bit of life injected into him and has been making the most of it for the last 5 years. So let's go.
Yeah. Okay,
up the town.
Okay. Beautiful. All right. So we've got today's games out of the way. Now we go into Thursday's games, which is obviously when all the big boys and the big fish come in here as well.
This is where the real juice is.
Yeah. Yep. So this for me, although while Chelsea are playing, and as we all know, I'm an avid Chelsea fan and you were an avid Crystal Palace fan, and we both got good games coming up as respective fans. the game I'm most interested in is this Arsenal-Brighton game. I really am looking forward to this.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the reason why is I shared this with you last night, which I didn't realize, is that in the Scottish League, Hearts are running away with the Scottish League, which is a bit of a shock because it's normally Celtic or Rangers. That's always, they've been the two dominant ones, similar to the Spanish League where it's, Barcelona and Real Madrid. But what I didn't realize is that Tony Bloom, not only does he own Brighton, not only does he own USG, who are in the Champions League, the Belgian dominant champions as well, but he also owns Hearts as well. So all of a sudden,
technically, he only owns 19%.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's got, sure, but he's basically got his fingers in the pie there and basically working his magic. And he's figured out a formula and a framework to sort of have bang average soccer teams suddenly just go and overperform and overdeliver and make a business out of it and go and generate and be profitable as well. So I really am fascinated. I'd really like to do more digging into this guy's framework and listen to some more interviews and even do some articles on him. But we've got Brighton against Arsenal. Now, admittedly, Brighton this season, we all know how well Arsenal is doing. Their defense is absolutely formidable. It's really, really hard to sort of even sort of think about how Brighton are going to have to sort of really sort of work hard to sort of go and even score here, let alone win. The only saving grace I would say that there is for Brighton is maybe Mikel Arteta decides to just basically rest some of his star players and just sort of say, look, we'll field this. But if you're on the upswing the way you are, and if you're a competitive person the way Mikel Arteta is, you'd want to go full court press, just especially when you're in such a dominant form and dominant boot. So what do you think here, Qooligan? Do you think Mikel Arteta goes full tilt and sort of puts his A team out?
Yeah, I think he does. No, he's not going to rest anybody. No. There's no rest. There's no rest for an Arteta team. No. Mm-mm. You're right to call out the defense though, because Arsenal's defense has been great. I predicted half of the scoreline from last week's Crystal Palace Arsenal match correctly. Unfortunately, it was the wrong half. So it goes. I'm okay. Yeah. I mean, and I didn't particularly like that game. I thought that game was not the most. It was a dull affair, as they say. Not all games can be bangers, and that one was absolutely 100% not even close.
Cannot think of a game this season where Arsenal have been rip-roaringly entertaining. You think, wow, that's an exciting way of playing football or a exciting way of playing soccer. They have just been grinding out results. I have not been
sure.
They haven't been playing swashbuckling entertaining games.
They're pragmatic. I would agree.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's what you need, and that's what's going to happen here. They're hosting, so they're at the Emirates, which is not it's not the easiest place in the world to play. So and their and their form is quite good. They haven't lost yet at home, and then but Brighton, interestingly, have not lost on the road. Right, so they are 2 wins and 2 draws on their home on their away fixtures. So I think this could be quite a taut and tense affair between both sides. I think it's going to be low scoring. If there's a win, it's going to be by a 1-goal margin, and it could be a 1-0 win. And there's a very good likelihood that this goes to pens. I think there's a very strong likelihood that this one goes into kicks.
Yeah. This is the interesting thing, and this is what's also worth considering as well, is how these managers approach it, right? So because if you look at Arsenal, I mean, to be fair, Arsenal are playing Burnley away on Saturday as well, which again is not, I mean, it's going to be it should be, one of those get on the road as well. So at what point does he start managing the squad and thinking, okay, let's look after them and sort of take care of it? But I agree, Brighton are playing at home to Leeds as well. So I think if you're Brighton, you definitely go for it. I think I think Arteta will probably, if they get 2-0, 2 goals up, then he'll start sort of making substitution and bringing on sort of
that's players, a whole different story. That's an in-game strategy that he'll employ, and if he would do that, absolutely 100%. But for the get up and go, the get up and go is going to have all cylinders ready to fire.
Yeah. I think Arsenal win this 2-0 quite comfortably as well. They should get through here as well, but there could be some shocks. Would you kind of agree with that, or do you have an alternative?
You can go 2-0. I mean, if anything, it's going to be a 1-0 victory, but I also think I think we're talking a 1-1 draw going to pens, and Arsenal's probably going to pull it out. On that.
Yeah. Okay. And then just moving through, then we've got Swansea against Man City. I
That's
I
an
mean,
this is an intriguing one.
What I'd be interesting to see is, does Pep start Haaland or does he rest him? Does he start Haaland? Yeah. Does it? Because again, and so if he starts him, fine. City destroy, City dominate. Haaland's form is so good 100%. Right now. He is so lean. It's scary just looking at his statistics and his numbers. If he plays, Man City should win, although they did lose at the weekend, which was a surprise. I was very surprised that he did not score and win at the weekend. I think we've been calling this out and talking about this as well. It's just the dependency on Haaland from Man City and just how he has scored the majority of their goals. I think it's like 65%.
It's a little disturbing.
There is distortion. So if he loses form, if he gets an injury, gets some suspensions as well, but he's just such a beast. He just moves his talent, moves his competition out of the way. I think if Haaland scores, Man City canter to this 3-0. I think this is a sort of 3-0 one. I don't think Swansea have got too much of a chance here as well.
Not really.
Any other thoughts?
No, in any normal universe, this is a fairly easy walk in the park for City to go in and dominate. And you're right, but it does come down to, who does he play?
Yeah, does he go for it or not?
I could very well see Pep putting Haaland on the bench, having him rostered, and putting him in there just as a security measure to say, hey, if we're not doing what we think we need to be doing, if we're in the locker room at 0, right, with 0-0 on the scoreline, watch Haaland come in, turn the tide. There you go. Thank you very much. Let's go get our chips and go home. No, but I don't see really any chance of Swansea coming out of this with anything other than a loss.
They are. I mean, if you just look at them in their sort of home form as well, I mean, where are Swansea in the championship?
They're 13th,
they're like 13th
in the championship. They got 4-4-4. They're very evenly across. They're even across the board. It's like, any one of these teams can show up and punch a Premier League team in the nose. The question is whether Man City will allow them to do that.
Yeah. I think it's, if he doesn't start Haaland and then he has to bring him on, then it does really speak to, and he has to bring Haaland on. It will validate sort of our theory, which is there's too much of a dependency on Haaland.
There's too much dependency on him. Correct.
Yeah. Okay. This is the other game that I'm really interested in seeing: Liverpool against your boys, the mighty Crystal Palace.
Right.
Because
me too.
Because is there a crisis going on at Liverpool here? They've lost 4 league games in a row. Sure, they had the Frankfurt game last week as well, where they won comfortably as well, and did look quite good, I will say. They did look good against that. But then, again, lost again this past weekend as well. Is there a problem up on Merseyside with Liverpool? Clearly there is, because to lose 4 games in a row, it's not.
Any team that loses 4 in a row, there's a problem.
But is it a crisis, or is it just a blip in form, I suppose, is what we probably need to determine right now. Yeah.
Sure. I still believe that it's a blip.
Okay.
And by the way, I misspoke. I misspoke and horribly misspoke earlier in the podcast. And I must have make amends for my error. It was Brentford that beat Liverpool. And that's why Brentford is on the high.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
Which is going to make Grimsby's challenge all the more worse. But my apology. I totally bombed. I bollocksed that one up. My apologies. But yeah, Liverpool's in trouble. It's a blip in form, though. I got to be perfectly fair. I don't know why this is happening. Although I suspect it's because too many new players.
You've brought in 5+ players, and so that's half the team, right? And all of a sudden you're not a team.
There's too much happening too fast.
Mm-hmm.
And one of Arne's greatest traits last year was being able to manage what he had and what he was given so effectively. Now he's just got that and more. And I know he's a big believer in the rotations. I know he likes to keep people fresh so that he can have this type of intense, 2 games per week scenario. But I don't see any chemistry between a lot of these players, and that's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
And so that's really what it comes down to. And is that really a coaching thing. Ultimately, yes, but it's also in some cases also on the players to be able to like work that out. But when you're doing 2 games a week, how much training time do you have to build that chemistry? Right, that's the question you got to ask.
Yeah, and
you're
exactly right. And it seems like, which is interesting, his star player last season being Salah has just gone off the boil as well and had a blip in form. Also, the focus has been taken away from him and the dependency on him has become great. Isak is not settled in. Yeah, Isak is not settled. Isak is not settled in. Wirtz is not settled in. I will say Ekitike has been the only bright shining lights out of all those new arrivals. Chiesa has turned up this season. He's impressed me as well, but yet not really starting. Chiesa has been very, very good.
He's been very good. And I think that's the one bright side of their lineup is him suddenly coming into his own, because last year he was going through what Salah's going through right now for the whole year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Salah's only had it now for a few games, and there's still chance for him to turn that around.
Well, there is, but just remember, we've got, end of October now, November. He's got 2 months, and then January there's the African Cup of Nations this season as well. So he's going to lose Salah for up to a month. But that's okay.
And listen, if I may be brutal, him losing Salah right now wouldn't make any difference into what they're happening in the game.
It would probably help them.
It wouldn't impact them.
It would free up and give some of the other players to get space to get into the team as well, right? So that could help.
Looking at this from the side of who's going to win, right? Crystal Palace, despite that loss to Arsenal, and despite that midweek loss in the Conference League, I still like them here. Liverpool are creaky. They are wobbling. They're like a boxer that's taken too many punches. And Palace are still very nimble. They're still very dangerous. They showed that danger against Arsenal. We didn't have a tremendous amount of shots on frame, but we didn't roll over to them.
Yeah. No, Palace have only lost one game this season.
Let's be fair. We were beaten by an exceptional individual play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
By our former player.
And
that's what beat us.
It had to be Eze, yeah.
It had to be Eze. And I mean, you take Eze out of that game, and it's probably a 0-0 draw. And we're having a totally different conversation about Crystal Palace right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because now we don't have 2 losses on the 3 losses on the flip. So I think this is a great opportunity for Crystal Palace to come in and show what they're made of by going to Anfield and saying, "Oh yeah, we're still here." Let's also not forget this is what the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th game in a calendar year that we're playing against Liverpool.
Really? Oh, there's been 5 games. I haven't been tracking that. Okay, that's a lot.
Remember the Community Shield? Remember the final? Remember the 2 league games before that?
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a lot. Yeah. Okay, they've been rivals. Yeah.
And how many have Crystal Palace won?
Mm-hmm. They've been 4.
I think 4. Well, we had a draw in the final game of the season. We had a draw, right? We beat them in the FA Cup. We drew them there. We beat them in the Community Shield. So we were owning this one. This is our game.
I'm going to say something that I think will probably delight you, which is Oliver Glasner has proved himself to be a very, very effective manager with what could be argued as limited resources relative to everyone else. However, he seems to be very good at getting to finals, and when he does get to finals, he wins them as well. So I think Palace could actually have a really good outside chance of being the winners here and getting to the final here as well. So I'm going to go Palace. I think 2-1 on this. I think Liverpool, it goes from, and then at what point does it go from a blip to a crisis of confidence to a red light, to a red flashing sort of disaster sort of situation as well. So I think Palace are going to sort of get through this 2-1. It's going to be, they're going to get outplayed. Do you agree? What are your thoughts?
I agree with you 100%. I agree with you, and I agree with you on the scoreline as well.
Okay.
I agree with you on the scoreline as well. Mateta will actually finally hit the net for once. Sometimes he has a problem doing that, but
he does need a few chances to get in the back, score in the back of it. No, yeah, when he does score, he does. But yeah,
doesn't have a very high scoring, like on target
efficiency, right? Yeah, exactly. Okay, and then 2 more games to go through. We got Wolves against Chelsea here. This one is, I mean, Wolves are down and out in the Premier League as well. So I mean, they should be. This for me will be a chance for Maresca once again to play the kids, give everyone some minutes. What I fear that will probably happen is the first half will be stale, and he'll end up having to bring on his 8 players as well just to get them over the line here as well. And Maresca will end up having to manage his way through this game, is my thoughts. Hopefully he starts Estevao. I'm so excited by this player. Hopefully Estevao skins him. I'd like to see also Garnacho starting as well. And there's rumor that Liam Delap will be coming back from injury as well. So we'll see what happens there. So
that's curious. I didn't hear that about Delap. Oh, that would be nice to see. That'd be nice to see.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I am very worried for Chelsea here. Wolves have nothing right now.
Mm-hmm.
They are so low.
Yeah.
Especially after losing the way that they did, because they did lose. They managed to draw it up against last week, and this time I want to get it right because I screwed it up the last time. Jeez, that was terrible, right?
Last weekend as well.
Burnley.
What was his result? They drew. Yeah.
No, it was Burnley.
Yeah, they lost to Burnley.
So at least I got the letter. I got the first letter right, but they ended up losing to Burnley despite having more shots, despite having more possession and everything in their favor, and they just still managed to do it. They are so low that we're talking about the cornered rodent syndrome. In other words, they are so backed up against a wall that they could come out so ferociously, and they're at home, where they don't want to lose another game. They could come right out and absolutely destroy Chelsea.
Okay.
I really do think this is possible. Yes.
Okay. So score predictions here. What do you think? This is
you're going to think I'm completely and utterly insane. They're
made some of these insane calls.
They're going to score 3 goals against Chelsea in this match.
Okay.
And those 3 goals will be enough to get them through. I think Chelsea might get 1 or 2 and punch back, but I do think I'm going out there. This is a Wolverhampton win.
I think this is going to be a higher scoring game as well. Look, you've made some crazy calls.
I have made some crazy calls.
Some of them have not come through, but some of them have been bang on as well.
Many more have not come through, but I feel good about this one.
My sense here is that Chelsea will play the kids. Wolves will come out with this. They'll get 2 goals. Chelsea will move some things around, bring on some A players, and I think they'll end up sort of suffocating them and killing them off. And I think 3-2 Chelsea. But there is a chance.
I'm going to invert that 3-2 Wolverhampton.
But there is a chance that this could go to extra time as well, and that's what you don't want to be doing, particularly if with the same game is in fixtures as well. You don't want to be playing these extra minutes. You want to get this game done and dusted. Okay, and then final game here. Newcastle are hosting Spurs. Now this is going to be a good one as well, I have to say, because Spurs, under Thomas Frank, have been silent killers. They have just been grinding out. They've been really impressive. It's amazing sort of what a change in philosophy does with the same amount of players compared to Postecoglou's, the former Forest manager's team as well. It's crazy to think that. And Eddie Howe's Newcastle, they just don't seem to be getting out of second gear at the moment as well. There's kind of stop-starting and stalling as well. So you'd think with the current form, from my perspective, is Spurs should confidently go on here. However, again, looking at the macro, Spurs are playing Chelsea this weekend as well, which is going to be tough. Spurs have to travel all the way up to Newcastle, which is a long way to go. It's not easy. Again, cold, wet, rainy night in Newcastle.
They're flying.
Yeah, they are flying. You'd expect them. So, but yeah, I think this will go to extra time, but I think Spurs should win this 2-1. That's where I'm going on this one.
It's funny you say they're not out of second gear. I think Newcastle's kind of like a 1967 Triumph. It just goes. It's really difficult. It's like it grinds and
it gets going and then it stops and stutters.
Looks beautiful. Drives like crap.
Yeah,
and that doesn't mean that they're not incapable of moments where that thing's just purring along and it's gorgeous. But there are just those other moments where you just can't get the starter to engage, and you just can't, and it's just turning over. So that is Newcastle to a T. And listen, it goes against every fiber of my being to give Tottenham any ounce of credit or any sort of plot, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? To give any struggling here. Props? I'll go with props.
Credit.
Terrible word.
Is that the word you're looking for? Credit?
Credit. Yeah, well, but I'm completely mentally taxed here. That's how bad it is for me to try and come up with good things about Spurs. But damn it, Frank is doing a good job.
Doing a very good job.
He's doing a good job. And I do think Tottenham have a very, very strong chance to come in and take this one. And I think they will. They've been, like, you call them the silent killers. I think it's a great description. That's very much the way that they've been. And they will continue to do so.
Yeah. So score predictions here. What do you think?
I actually think it's going to be a bit of a blowout. 3-1 Spurs.
Wow. Okay. 3-1 Spurs. Wonderful. Okay. Wonderful. Well, Qooligan, that brings us up on time as well, and particularly if you're taxed mentally as well and lacking words, it's probably a good time to end.
I think this thing squeeze in my head.
I it definitely is. The compression hat. Yeah,
the compression hat is killing my brain.
Wonderful. Well, in that case, Qooligan, thank you very much. We'll get this up. Obviously, we've got these early games today, and then obviously we'll go in tomorrow. But as always, hooligan-soccer.com. We'll find the musings, ramblings, and straight up bullshit as well that we pontificate as well there. And we will be back on Thursday with an MLS special. And then, of course, we will do our Premier League look through on Friday as well. So we'll go from there. Wonderful. Qooligan, as always, thank you.
Good. Peace.